Welcome to another Howls and Growls breakdown. Today we're talking about another Timberwolves fourth quarter collapse and another really head-scratching coaching performance from Chris Finch. Now the offensive structure has been up and mostly down this season, and we've touched on that a ton on this channel, but in this game it was the bizarre lineups that killed Minnesota. You obviously expect Minnesota to beat the San Antonio Spurs in almost any situation, but this was a lesson in how a few terrible lineups can derail a game completely. For a total of 6 minutes and 28 seconds across two different stints, one in the second quarter and one to begin the fourth quarter, Chris Finch rolled out lineups that featured Jordan McLaughlin, Shake Milton, Kyle Anderson and Rudy Gobert. All four of those players can be impactful players to varying degrees individually, but together they're four non-shooters in a league built upon three-point shooting and spacing. Unsurprisingly, it didn't go well. They scored just 6 points on 3 of 9 shooting with 5 total turnovers. In those 6 minutes, the Spurs scored 21 points, so they outscored Minnesota by 15 points, and they did it on 9 of 13 shooting. That's the only time they've played together this season, and it's a huge blunder in a game that ended in a 1-point loss. So let's take a look at how those minutes crushed the Wolves and empowered the Spurs. We start in the second quarter and look how much room Wemby is giving Kyle Anderson here. He has time to physically point to Osman to come and switch here so he can drop down and cover Gobert, while Anderson stands here unwilling to shoot. Eventually Anderson drives and Osman easily cuts it off. He gets it to Cat, and look at this spacing. Anderson inside the arc with his man, Gobert under the rim with his man, and Milton spacing the floor, but not actually spacing because his man won't guard him on the arc. So Cat drives, Osman stunts all the way over in off Anderson, Wemby rotates over off Gobert, and it ends up in a predictable turnover. That's how bad spacing and bad lineups can kill an offense and a star scorer like Towns. So they run their Horns flare action here, and it's such an easy action to guard if you're not deploying corner shooters. Wemby switches onto Towns off the catch because he knows that McDermott can come all the way off Milton in the corner to stifle Gobert's roll. That's exactly what happens. Look at all these bodies crowding inside the arc again, and there's just no chance that pass is getting through all of it. It's another empty possession. Hey guys, just interrupting this video quickly to tell you about Fruity Flyers, a local Minnesota brand who love the Wolves like we love the Wolves. Their clothing is simple and it's fun and it's perfect for Wolves fans. If you buy 2 Fruity Flyers tees, you can get a free black tee just for supporting Howls and Growls. Just head over to fruityflyers.com, get your tees, and use the code Howls and Growls for a free tee with your order. So this next possession is a baseline out of bounds play, and they simply want to get the ball to Cat here under the free throw line, and this is ridiculous. McDermott is going to come all the way off Anderson and leave him wide open with no consequences. Wemby is going to come off Gobert here as well. Jones is doing the same thing, leaving McLaughlin on the perimeter. So it's almost impressive that Towns worms his way through all of it, but it's not surprising that he isn't able to complete the play and make this shot. It's serious coaching malpractice for this to happen because it was very obvious that this was going to happen. Okay, it's the fourth quarter now and it's the same thing again. Osman is happy to duck under the screen on the perimeter here. Anderson won't take the 3, but he also can't drive because McDermott is so far over in gap help off Milton. So he's at the free throw line and Osman is still here ducking under the screen without fear, and Anderson's robotic jumper allows Osman to get under both of those screens and still get a great contest up on the shot. This is just making life so much harder than it needs to be. So here's a minor success story, but it's still the same issues we're dealing with. When Naz Reid gets the ball here, Johnson doesn't even go with Anderson. He just slips in front of Reid, and again it's McDermott doing the roaming off Milton to crowd Reid out. Again, I'm just going to circle this whole thing because look at the amount of bodies ignoring everything but the one scorer on the court, and Naz Reid is awesome, so Naz Reid still manages to store the ball. And again, Anderson is driving, the circle is backed because everybody is packing the paint still. There's an obvious pass here that he doesn't make out to Reid. That's a bad idea, and this time Wemby skies over to bat that ball away. Now there's some credit due to the Spurs who were flame-throwing in the fourth quarter of this game, even when Minnesota did get some shooting back out on the floor and started making shots themselves. But again, this was a 1-point game in the end, and Chris Finch decided to let these possessions unfold for an ungodly amount of time, and that's how you lose to the 9-win San Antonio Spurs. Minnesota have major issues right now. It starts with the coaching, and it trickles down to the roster construction, the confidence at the end of the games, and the inability to just play normal basketball against bad teams. It'll be interesting to see how they respond to this rough patch in their season. Thanks again for watching Howls and Growls. Please subscribe for more.